Today, I'll guide you through how to create a self care Sunday ritual which will leave you feeling refreshed, recharged, and ready for the week ahead. With that being said, I'm Olivia Ritt. I'm currently a third year undergraduate student at a university, having two majors and a minor. And the reason why I say that is because with that amount of workload on top of doing work and keeping up with my personal life, I need to practice some self care, take some time to myself before I start with my week, especially with Mondays being the first day back after having a 2 day break from like the weekend to get back into my school routine for the week. Because I have a different routine during the week when I have classes than on the weekends when I don't have classes. And with that being said, on Sunday, is the day where I really prioritize making sure everything is turned in, that has to be turned in, that I'm prepared for any exams, any major projects that are being completed or being done during the week, as well as just simply preparing for all my classes, especially this week because I found out roughly an hour or two ago that one of my classes, our schedule that we were going to have for this week, changed. And sometimes that just happens. The teacher, something comes up, they're like, you know what, we're going to go with a different plan this week, and so this is what we'll be doing. And for that class, I have it on Mondays, meaning I was prepared for Monday's class, but now it changed, so it means I have to re-prepare for the class, which is okay because that happens sometimes and it's life. You gotta learn to adjust and be resilient. So, with that being said, what does self-care even really mean? So, it's when you do activities that or tasks by wow, words, pri- prioritizing. Not sure why I stumbled a bit with that coming out of my mouth, but prioritizing your physical, mental, and emotional, as well as your spiritual well being, because these are all components in our life that, even in a day, especially in a week, that if you do not take the time to, in a sense, recharge these components in your life, you would just continuously feel like you're draining your battery on your physical, your emotional, your mental, and spiritual well being. And so, through self care, you're promoting overall your health and well being of yourself. And so, what exactly are some things that you would do during a self care? So, this is anything you need to do in order to like continue feeling great. So this may be taking a long hot shower or taking a bath and or having a face mask or honestly going out for a walk. Although today in Tallahassee, Florida may not be the best day for a walk because it's like sprinkling rain stopping every once in a while and then coming back again because like when I went out to get food earlier, I didn't have my umbrella. Not that I really mind because it wasn't so bad, but I was outside for 5 seconds and I was covered in rain. So that was interesting. And then when I came back to my place, it wasn't raining anymore and I was gone for maybe 20 minutes, but it'd be like that sometimes. So yeah, knowing what you could do. And other things you could do is just, usually when I think of self-care, I just think of relaxation. So whatever you think is relaxing and helps you to wind down and regenerate in a sense, do that. If that means you're taking a nap in the middle of the day, then take the nap on a Sunday. Or maybe honestly, if you feel like you need a nap in your days, maybe incorporate that into your like daily routine or when you need them. And sometimes self-care for individuals that like love socializing and in general just being human, you need some sort of like social relationships. And so self-care could be having a hangout with friends and having social interactions, or maybe you're going somewhere where you know you'll be able to have conversations with people, or just simply being around others could be relaxing. Being around people that you feel comfortable with and that you don't have to put like your guard up in a sense. All right. With that being said, we're going to talk about why does self-care matter? And I've mentioned it a little bit earlier. Self-care is the time to regenerate your body, get that energy that you've used throughout your week, and in a sense, build it back up by taking the time to focus on you and not others, and just doing what you need to do in order to feel fulfilled and ready for the tasks you have for the week. And yeah, we're just going to focus it on a week aspect. All right. Oh, I just got a notification, but I'm not going to discuss that at the moment. Okay, so what are some key elements of self-care routine that you can incorporate into your Sunday before starting off your week and getting back to work? Because Sunday is viewed as like the seventh day of creation, as a rest day, so that's why I'm selecting Sunday for this self-care ritual. All right, so one of the things is mindfulness and reflection. Some people do this through meditation, and I also have some other examples in my most recent video that came out about mindfulness made easy, a simple guide to living in the moment. And this covers some components is box breathing, how to meditate, and finding guided meditations and some suggested speakers of meditations that I have listed in that video. And then what was another thing? Okay, can't quite remember the third and fourth thing that I included in that video. If you go watch that video, be sure to comment down the third and fourth tip that I leave in that video, because at the moment I'm drawing a blank, and that would be very much appreciated. Thank you. Okay, so besides mindfulness of something you can incorporate either every Sunday, or maybe it's like once a month or every other week in your Sundays. Another thing could be physical care. Maybe your week was so busy that you just didn't even think about going to the gym. This Sunday, this self-care Sunday, could be the time where, okay, this is when you're gonna go to the gym, you're gonna do some form of exercise. I know I said gym, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in a gym environment. It could be outside. Honestly, you could go run, like a lot of people go running on campus, and other things you could do is like, what is it? You could do lunges. It's not always running. And also, you could honestly grab some water bottles and use them as weights, because even though depending on the size of water bottle, because you could choose like gallon waters. That makes sense. Anyways, what I'm saying is when you exercise with something with a small weight, eventually, depending on how many reps you do, all of a sudden, even though the weight of the object did not change, the energy in your muscles has decreased, and so it makes it seem like the object is more heavier than it actually is. And so even doing stretches could help. If you just get out of bed and put like a rug on a floor or a mat and just do some stretches. This could be either Pilates or yoga. And also into physical care is also just having a relaxing shower or bath as well. Okay. Another thing to think about on self-care days, on Sundays, is to make sure you're that you're giving nutrients to your body. And so maybe you treat yourself to like an amazing like gourmet meal per se, or like a really healthy meal that tastes good to you. And however that looks like, just go and do it. Because especially if you haven't been thinking about the nutrition that you've been incorporating into your meals prior to that Sunday, like the previous week, that Sunday is like a good way to get those nutrients back into your body. And then another thing you could do is setting your intentions for the week. Okay, so like thinking about, you know what, even though we have like a busy schedule, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna organize it, and it's gonna not be overwhelming, because you know it's going to be a busy week, but you also know that you could handle it being a busy week. And so setting the intention of knowing, you know what, this is going to be a great week. Even though we have X, Y, and Z and A, B, C, D to do, that's fine. It may be busy, but still be a great week. All right. And then a crucial part into like making your self-care Sunday ritual is personalizing to yourself. Now, everyone could be talking about what they do on their self-care day. Look at what those people do for ideas, but highlight what you really want to do and then add those highlighted components into your ritual. You don't have to be doing what everyone else does, because sometimes if I do that, it just feels overwhelming and it feels like I'm copying someone else's life. Make it your own, because this is your own life. You live it the way you live it. You're not living someone else's life. So just keep that in mind. Okay. And then some examples of like simple tasks you could do is mindful journaling. And just honestly, there's a lot of different prompts on the internet that you could find, or it's just as I refer to it, as like a brain dump. Whatever comes to your mind, you just keep writing and writing and writing until you have no more to write. Another thing to do is creative hobbies. Now, I recently have a book coming out on Amazon that helps with this Sunday self-care task, or honestly just throughout your week, and it's a coloring book. So this coloring book is of aircrafts, and so we have 20 images of aircrafts in this coloring book, and I'll just show you like a sneak peek, like one preview. And so this is one of the images that you could color in. And so you could purchase that on Amazon, and when I have the link for it, I'll be sure to put it in the description for y'all. And the reason why there's like a blank page here is because on the back of every photo, we include a blank page. So no matter the type of material you use to color the images in this book, it won't bleed through like to the next page, to the next image, because we'll just leave the back page blank. So that prevents some bleeding into the next image for y'all. And so yeah, it's called, oh, it's a little bit backwards, but it's called Aircrafts Coloring Book by Olivia Wright down there. So yeah. So that will be available on Amazon very shortly, like a day or two, not even. That's how quick it would be available. So be on the lookout for that. If you don't already follow my Amazon page, it's simply Olivia Ritz or Rit Olivia. Either way, it might be last name first or first name first. And then some other things you could do during Sundays is declutterizing and organizing. For example, I know a lot of people, you have a lot of things going on throughout the week, and keeping everything organizing or just cleaning up like a few things, you may not be able to do that throughout your week. But on Sundays, what you could do is set like maybe 10 minutes. You'll just go around your place, gather whatever you need to gather, throw away what you need to throw away, or maybe just put things of where they belong, and just go 10 minutes of doing that. Maybe you won't complete everything, and maybe you will. That's okay. It's the effort that you put in that matters. Okay. And then another thing could be digital detox. And so this means, like we talked in our previous video yesterday, putting your technology away and just not being on your technology. And this coloring book will be a great way to do that, because honestly, coloring books need to come back, because like, look at this. You could have so much color in here, or you could just customize it to however you want it to be. And it's just, for me, I just find that very relaxing. So yeah. And then another example of self-care is, like I've talked about multiple times, is literally going outside and touching grass or touching nature and just being surrounded by nature. Like, I live near somewhat of a nature walk, but it's not technically a nature walk, but I live near somewhere where I could just go on a walk and be surrounded by trees, and I love it. which is also another reason why I love my campus, because they've added so many like trees into it, and they're like these large trees that one, they provide a lot of shade, which in Florida you need, but two, they're just so gorgeous. And honestly, our flowers, like, I think when we came back from spring break, they just blossomed everywhere, and it's just so gorgeous on campus. And like, you want to be on campus when it's like that. Okay. With that being said, we're coming up to like a 16-minute mark, and so if anyone has any questions about self-care, maybe you've came into the live stream a little bit late and you missed some components. If you want to ask anything, feel free to ask that now. With that being said, we're just going to recap a few points. So we talked about what self-care is, the importance of it, some different ways to incorporate self-care into your Sundays. And it doesn't have, keep in mind, it doesn't have to be like the same type of Sunday every day. You could have different types of self-care depending on how your previous week went, or simply just how you feel that Sunday. And so we gave some examples on how to do that and some key elements that you should look for in your Sundays, on your self-care days. And with that being said, before you click off of this video, remember your well-being is essential, and creating a self-care Sunday routine is a simple yet powerful way to recharge and set yourself up for a success in the week ahead. Since I don't see any questions in the comments in the live chat, with that being said, we're going to end this live stream, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye y'all!